Hey guys, we are going to be decorating the Valentine's Day cookie kit. I've got everything I need. I've got my cookies, icing, sprinkles, skewer, and paper towel. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Remember, you always want to check your icing bags first and make sure if there's any type of color separation, you just knead it back together in the bag and mix it up so that it's all the same color. It's still totally fine. You don't need to refrigerate them. Or anything like that. It's just sometimes they separate a little bit and you just mix them right back up. Okay, we are going to go ahead and open our piping bag, and we are going to look for this seam right here along the piping bag, and then we're going to flip that on its side and push down on the tip so that it's nice and flat. And then we're going to take some sharp scissors and we're going to cut just a very small tip off the end of the bag. You can always make it bigger, so start small like that. Then we're going to find that seam again, and we're going to push down on it to open up the bag. And then we're good to go. All right, so with my red, I'm going to start with the lips shape. And we're going to do this in two parts so that we can see a defining line in between the upper and lower lip. Okay, so you could do just a straight line across, but what I like to do is I like to do a straight line with a little dip in the middle to kind of make it look more like a pouty lip. All right, so what we're gonna do, you always wanna hold your hand to be at the back of the piping bag, okay? When you're applying pressure, you don't wanna be holding it in the middle. You want it nice and even. You always wanna make sure the tip of the piping bag is clean. So if the icing's already starting to come out, just make sure you take clean hands and wipe it off, or wipe it off on your towel. And I'm going to go to the corner of the lip, and I'm going to apply very gentle pressure, and as soon as the icing hits the cookie, I'm going to lift up, and I'm going to keep applying pressure, and I'm going to drop that icing like a rope. And when I get about to the middle, I'm going to kind of do this little dip, and then all the way to the end, and that's good. I'm going to finish the top part of the lip like this. I'm going to go back to this corner. Again, apply gentle pressure, lift up, and drop that icing like a rope. And whenever we change directions, like right here, we've got this little hump, we're gonna touch down to the cookie and keep applying pressure and come back up this way. And then when you get to where you wanna stop, you stop pressure and touch down and pull the icing bag away. All right, now that this part of the lip has been outlined, we're going to go ahead and fill it in. So when we flood, this is called piping, and then now we're going to flood. So when we flood, we're going to apply more pressure. So I'm applying a greater amount of pressure to the bag, and so the icing is going to come out faster and thicker. And I'm just going to go along the outline and just fill it in. I like to go around the edges first and make sure I get all the way to that edge, and then fill in the middle. Now you need a good amount of icing, so don't be afraid of using too much icing. All right, and then see how it's kind of all over the place right now? We're gonna take our skewer. We also call this a scribe tool, and we're just going to move the icing around until it's nice and smooth. And you'll see that it settles back on itself pretty quickly, just like that, okay? If you need a little extra help, you can actually stick the cookie with the skewer and give it a little shake. And it's nice and smooth, just like that. I'm gonna let that dry for a minute, and then we'll do the other half. Oh, actually, no, we have to do our highlight bubble. Sorry. We're gonna take our white, and we're gonna cut it open just like we did the other one. Find the seam, turn it over, flatten it, cut a nice little piece, just like that. Okay. And then turn it back over, push down on the seam, and open it up. So we're gonna do a little highlight on the top of the lip, and how we do that is we are just going to put a little dot of white on the red while it is still wet. We don't want to do this when it's dried, okay? And make sure your skewer is clean. It might be tinted red now, but make sure that it's clean. And you're gonna put your skewer in the white dot and pull it out like this. All right, and then if you don't like that, if you have If it messes up the surface a little bit, just knock it out. Or if you want it to go a little farther, you can do it again. But just make sure that the tip is clean. Start again in the white part and pull it out this way, okay? Make sure it settles in, and we've got that little highlight on the top of the lip. Pretty cool, right? All right, now we're gonna set it to the side and let it dry. I'm gonna put it in front of a fan so that it goes quickly, more quickly. If you're at home, just let this, if you don't have a fan to help you out, just let this sit for about 15 minutes, okay? All right, now we're gonna grab our arrow. And our arrow, we are going to decorate from back to front. The first thing we're gonna do is some little lines at the back to make it look like the fringe on an arrow. So I am going to go with, red and white for the fringe, okay? So what I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna do diagonal lines right here going towards the middle part of the arrow. And I'll show you what that looks like. And I'm gonna leave some space in between each line because we're gonna come back with red once the white has a chance to dry. Okay, so just like we did with our piping before, we're gonna apply gentle pressure and we're going to drop a rope of icing, and then when we wanna stop, we're gonna touch down and lift up. I'm just gonna do a few of those. Right, going to the middle, just like that. Awesome. I'm gonna do the same thing coming the other direction. So starting in this corner, come on down. And they don't have to be perfectly straight, so don't worry too much about that, okay? And that's good. We're gonna let that white icing dry for just a minute, and then we'll go in with our red. If we did the red right now, they would just settle in together and it would be kind of a mess, and we wanna see those individual lines. So I'm gonna stick that in front of the fan. Again, you don't have to put yours in front of the fan, just a few minutes, maybe 10 would be great. Here's our heart. Now our heart, we're gonna do a marbling technique and then add some sprinkles. So what I'm gonna do, let's go ahead and open our pink. Remember, find that seam right here, flip it over, push down, cut across, and then pop it back open by pushing down on the seam. There you go. So I'm gonna outline this cookie, the heart, in pink, and then we're gonna do pink, red, and white splotches all in there and kind of swirl it up and give it a marble effect. So, like we piped before, I like to start in the corners, so I'm gonna start down here. So I'm gonna apply gentle pressure, and once the icing hits the cookie, I lift up, and I drop that icing like a rope all the way around. Oh, that's okay. I'm gonna clean up that edge and just keep on going from where it stopped. Sometimes that happens when there's an air bubble. Okay, so I keep dropping that rope, and when I get to this middle part, I'm gonna touch down, I'm gonna keep applying pressure, and I'm gonna go the other direction. Okay. And I'm gonna come all the way down to the bottom. All right. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to do I'm gonna flood splotches of color. So I'm just spreading out splotches of pink. And we still need to go to the edges, so we still want to go to the edges, but we're gonna alternate some colors, okay? So, and big splotches, little splotches, we want all kinds. And then we've got red, so we'll go in with some red. All right. And we're filling up the whole cookie, so yes, the colors will need to touch. So don't worry about keeping them separate or anything like that. Just want to make sure we spread them out evenly and that we do go to the edge of the cookie. All right, let's go in with some white. This is kind of fun to just kind of free for all it and do it that way. All right, And there's some little holes you can see, but that's okay. Just fine. All right. Now that I have all my colors together, I'm going to take my skewer and I'm going to go in swirling motions all the way around the cookie. Now you want to be gentle with these swirls. You don't want to make the colors muddy, okay? You want those nice curvy lines, but you don't want to end up with one big mixed up mess. So just be gentle with it. Go one at a time until you like what you see. And I like that. Make sure the holes are covered up. Make sure it goes all the way to the edges. And if you still have some pickups, go ahead and knock those down. Just like this, just like that. You can do the stick trick where we shake it out a little bit, just like that. Okay. That looks pretty cool, huh? I'm gonna take some sprinkles, make it a little extra, and drop some sprinkles up here in this corner. With some fun shapes and whatnot. And I'm gonna drop some down here as well. Let's see if I have some big ones. Yeah. Take your skewer and you can just move those sprinkles around so that they're all on the cookie. You want them to dry with the icing. So make sure that they're in that icing. There's good contact there, right? And you can play with your sprinkles where they're placed and make sure you get a variety of shapes on there. Yeah, I think that looks fun. Very cool. All right, that's our heart. That's completely done. Okay, we're gonna bring our lips back on over, just like that. And all we're gonna do is fill in the bottom part, right? So we're gonna start here in this corner and we're going to make sure your piping bag is clean and apply gentle pressure and drop that rope of icing all the way along the bottom into there. And we're gonna go ahead and flood right up next to the other section and on the bottom so that we can fill it in. And since we let it dry a little bit, there's gonna be this defining line in between the two sections and it's gonna look more realistic, like real lips, okay? Okay, fill that in nice and evenly. Take your skewer. Make sure everything is filled in, bring it out to the edges, give it a little shake. All right, and I'm gonna do another highlight of white down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna take my white and I'm gonna make a little white dot. Take my clean skewer, start in the white and drag out this way. And maybe do it one more time, start again in the white and drag it out that way. All right, very cool. That is our lips. All right, we're gonna grab our arrow that we were working on, bring it on back. We have the white stripes, now we're gonna do some red stripes. And I'm just gonna go in between the red stripes with or in between the white stripes with the red. So I'm gonna drop a line of red there, and there, and there. Just keep going, like this. Like that. Very good. And again on the top. All right, very good. We'll let that hang out and dry for a second, and then we're gonna go ahead and do our rainbow. So our rainbow, we're gonna flood with white, and then we're gonna add some stripes and some other designs to it as well. So I'm gonna start here in the corner. I'm gonna apply gentle pressure, drop my rope of icing. At the corner, remember we touch down and then we go the other direction. And when you're doing these curves, just go slow and let the icing fall I really seem to have better control when I lift up quite a bit away from the cookie, which seems counterintuitive, but it works. Okay, so now we're gonna flood it in. So I'm applying more pressure on the bag, filling in all the way, going along the edges. Okay, and then going all the way to the middle. Like this. Take your skewer, make sure it's clean so you're not dragging other colors through there. Make sure it goes all the way out to the edges. Give it a little shake so the icing settles. Okay, I'm gonna take my pink and I'm going to do a line of polka dots in the middle of the rainbow, and I'm gonna go all the way over the arch, right? So just try and eyeball it, get as close to the middle as you can, and go all the way around the edge. So I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna do like a good size polka dot, like this. And I'm just gonna go all the way around. It looks like I ended up with 8, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here at the top with my clean skewer. I'm gonna start in the white, and I'm gonna go through each dot all the way to the bottom, and it's gonna make it turn into hearts. So right here, my skewer is in the white, and I'm gonna pass through each polka dot, like that. Cute, right? I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. And then you've got hearts all the way down. Very cool. Now we have this open space in the middle, so what we can do is we can put a dot right there. And instead of going all the way down the line, we're just gonna go, make sure your skewer is clean, go straight through this one, like that. Cool. All right, I'm gonna add some red lines for the rainbow. So I'm gonna start here on the outside, and I'm gonna drop a rope of red, and I'm just following the shape of the rainbow the best I can. Like that. I'm gonna do one on the inside as well. Just do your best. Like that. And now you can either do another, let's see, do I want to do another one? Let's do another line of red along the top. Like this. And we'll do one more along the inside. That. So we've got a cute little rainbow with the hearts in the middle. Very cool. And because we use the icing, we put wet icing on top of wet icing, it'll dry together. So that's kind of a cool technique as well. All right. So we've got those 3 done. We've got our arrow to get back to. Okay, and we're gonna do the middle part of the arrow. And we are gonna start by piping a line all the way down. We're gonna cover the tops of the fringe. Okay, over here and over here. Okay, and then we're gonna make the tip of the arrow pink as well. So that's all lined out, so we'll fill it in now. Both sides. Just like that. Make sure all the icing goes to the edges and that it's nice and leveled out so that it dries evenly. Okay, just like that. And I'm gonna do some stripes on the tip of the arrow, like this. And then I'm gonna take my skewer, and I'm gonna go straight down the middle, clean it off, go straight up the other direction, clean it off, and straight up the other direction as well. And that's it. We are finished. So we've got our arrow, our rainbow, our lips, and our heart all finished for our Valentine's Day decorating kit. Super fun. You guys can do whatever you want. Be creative, have fun with it, try new things. Remember the icing takes 6 to 8 hours to fully dry. Leave it open, uncovered, and it'll dry like a candy coating on top of the cookies, and then you can package them, wrap them up, whatever you'd like to do. Hope you guys had fun, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.